Hey everybody, Kim here with Lead Generation Source, and today we are going to be talking about Pinterest. I know I didn't give much notice for this live webinar, so I don't expect very many people to hop on, but that's okay because it'll be on the Facebook page and in the group and on YouTube as well for indefinite replays, right? So you can watch it as much as you want. So go ahead and buckle up because we're going to hop into the changes that were announced from Pinterest. And Pinterest actually announced these changes in February 2020, so about a month ago. And I'll explain why. This is a little vague, but so the Tailwind is actually the organization, the company that I follow, and I of course use their software and everything. And they are the ones that did the interview with Pinterest that I saw. And so I'm going to recap kind of the stuff that I pulled out of it, and I'll have a link at the end for anybody who wants to watch that themselves. So despite it being straight from Pinterest, for those of you who know, probably know I'm laughing because Pinterest is extremely vague on what is good and what is not good. So they'll say, oh, you can't spam, but they won't define what spamming is, right? So they true to form, they remained rather vague. So there are some things that we're able to get clarified that were not in that interview that I'll talk about. And then there are some things that it's just kind of best practices. So we're going to take a look at 3 distinct changes that have taken place. And we're going to look at examples of how you can apply these changes. Then I will also discuss some secrets on how to apply this to local businesses for those of you who are, into local business or are a local business. Let's get that to go. Okay. So change number 1. So the first change is that Pinterest repeatedly said there is an emphasis on new content. So Pinterest wants new and fresh content. And when I say content, I mean pins. They want new images or new video that's never been seen before on Pinterest. And yes, it is kind of late. And it's not that late. It's just really tired because I didn't sleep well last night. So anyway, the content means that it's, new video, new images, something like that that's never been seen before on Pinterest. So if you have the same picture and you just change out the text on the top of it, that doesn't count. Their algorithms are getting very good at reading the images and comparing the pixels or whatever it is. And if it's not unique enough, they're new. So Pinterest has started and will continue to increase the priority of showing new pins. Now, there's an exception to that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. This does not mean that you need new content on your website. Okay. You can have content that's 10 years old. They literally don't care. They just want fresh pins with new images. And I'll show you some examples in a bit. So the Pinterest representative that was there flat out said the age of the content on your site does not matter. It doesn't matter. They're not reading it. They're not looking at it. They don't care. So really all this means that you just need to create new pins and keep reusing your current content. So if you have an article that is 10 years old and it's still relevant today, all you have to do is create fresh pins and pin them on there, and you're likely to get new traffic through those pins. All right, so here's some example of fresh pins for Pinterest, all of the same content. So you can see, here's the first one. We can see it's all the same image. It's the same image. So you can see here's a couch, same couch. And you can't see in here, you can see it maybe right here, where it's got this here still, got the little table there. So this is the same picture. In fact, and I know because this Tailwind created this, that I know that this particular image they got off of one of the free sites or stock photo site place. And they just took it and they kind of zoomed into different sections and made 4 different pins with it. Now you can see they also mixed up, their text. The writing is slightly different. This is the same wording, but they changed the font and the background and everything on it. The logo is basically the same on most of them, but this one has a call to action, and these other ones are less clear on the call to action. So there's a variety here. So if all 4 of these pins were to pop up on the same day for somebody, they would obviously see 4 different pieces of Pinterest content. So 4 different pins, and if they're unique enough that if they were to see it, they wouldn't be like, oh, they're spamming me, right? And that's the whole thing that Pinterest is looking for. They want to have unique content, pins that are fresh and new and have never been seen before on Pinterest. That is literally their emphasis right now. All right, so change number 2, post to less boards. Now, this one's kind of interesting because this has always been the case, but some of us, as in me, have taken advantage of the ability to pin to multiple boards and not, I pinned to a lot of boards. And so I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to knock that off. But that's okay, because there's some other changes that occurred as well that will make it so it evens out better. So less is more when it comes to sharing pins. Now, this is in general, just besides boards, but in general. So in general, they've said you don't need to be pinning 150 times a day, which I was at one point. So Tailwind itself has capped the number of daily scheduled pins to 50, and you can override it if you have to, but most people don't need to pin more than 50 times a day. And Tailwind shows that of their users, the most success is between 15 and 25 pins per day. Now, Pinterest considers pinning to a lot of boards, and we estimate that to be if it's more than 10. Now, I've tested this and I haven't been marked for spamming for more than 10, but again, this is a change that just happened, so it might be slow to implement. So I would say you're probably pretty good just pinning to 3 or 4 boards maximum if you need to, and even 1 works. So with the spamming, Pinterest is going to start cracking down if you start pinning to more and more boards, because it just looks like you're trying to abuse the system. And I wasn't when I was doing it. I was literally trying to get them into boards where there were different people, right? So if I have 10 different boards and they have 10 different audiences, I was trying to get them into those 10 different audiences. And so now I'm kind of limiting that to the boards that are most likely going to be relevant for the pins. So in my testing that I've been doing, and this has been consistent along the way. So for those who are new, just remember that you're going to have to go through this baby steps, right? So there are your personal boards that are your boards that nobody else can pin to. And then there are group boards that are either your group boards or somebody else's group boards that people can pin into. So with the group boards, it's more of a diluted, Pinterest has said they dilute that visibility. So they flat out said that a while ago, group boards used to be the way to go. And now it's basically, and even with my testing, I've confirmed this, that if you're pinning to your own boards that are not group boards, you get way more visibility. So that's just something to keep in mind. And if you use Tailwind Tribes, share your tribe members' pins to 1 or 2 of your boards. And then if you don't have a lot of followers, you can add on or swap out to group boards, because that'll help if you don't have a lot of followers. But again, followers, we've talked about this in the past before, that followers really aren't that important anymore, because Pinterest is using kind of their smart algorithm to figure everything out. All right, so change number 3, you need content creation and curation. So while the emphasis is on creation of new images or pins, you still have to curate or share content from others. You just need to make sure you have more new images. So if you usually do 10% of your as new pins, you need to jump that up. Some suggest that 30% needs to be shared and then maybe 70% needs to be new, but others say 50-50. But that was pre-February. So nobody really has any real data. And again, this is going to be changing over time. So nobody has any real data, but Pinterest has flat out said, look, we want fresh content. And so sharing is completely normal. So you still want to keep sharing. So you can't be like 100% all your pins, even though there are some bigger brands like Forbes and stuff like that. I don't see them share a lot of stuff, but I see them post a lot of stuff or pin a lot of things. So keep in mind that, Pinterest has flat out said that that's what they want, is the fresh pins. So, and again, what works today may shift in a few weeks or months, but increase the number of fresh and new pins that you have. And that is going to be your priority, but you still need to share. So that's where, I would emphasize that you would want to share from Tailwind Tribes if you're doing tribes. And if not, then just, share some pins that you like. All right, so let's do a quick overview real quick of how to create pins, because I know some of you guys are newer to Pinterest or need a little refresher. So we're just going to talk about this real quick. I'll actually show you how to do some while we're doing it. So Canva is a free graphic design tool that's online. It's, web-based. You should use it, canva.com. If you want to use something else like Adobe or Corel, any of them that you have that are, graphic design stuff, you can do that if that's what you're comfortable with. But Canva is super easy to use. I have Adobe, but I use it for other stuff. I use it for more complex things. For Pinterest, I just use Canva because it's super easy. I'll develop my images somewhere, take photos, whatever I need to do, and I'll just drag them into Canva because that's it's such an easy tool. Make sure your pins are vertical, which means tall, not wide, and include only relevant text on your images if necessary. So sometimes you have a product or a picture or something that kind of says it all. You don't need to include text then, but a lot of images need text. So it's kind of like one of those, it depends on your niche, but those are all things that if you have questions, just hop into Lead Generation Source and ask questions and we can help. So use keywords when saving your image. A lot of people don't know this, but when you save an image, so let's say you're in Canva or you're in Adobe and you make your image, your pin, right? You need to save that pin with something like, instead of saying pin 1 or pin to upload or something like that, you would want to put the actual keyword. So you want to put the keyword like how to make great hot dogs, if that's what your topic was. It needs to be related, obviously. So when you save it, you want that. A lot of people don't do that, and they don't realize that the Pinterest algorithm actually reads that when you upload it. Then after you have uploaded your pin, you need to include your keywords in the title and alternate keywords in the description, and include a call to action in the description. If you're brand new to Pinterest and these concepts do not seem familiar, sign up for our free Pinterest course. You need to post below this because we have it tied to our master course, and I need to break it out so that you guys can just get the Pinterest course if you want it. But if not, just go into the Lead Generation Source group and you can get the link to the master course. Or you can just comment below here and we'll go ahead and get you the link. All right, so let's do an e-commerce example. We have a lot of people in our group that are in e-commerce. We'll talk about blogging and affiliate stuff in a minute, but e-commerce is one that's actually a lot more difficult because for most of us, we're using manufacturers or suppliers that are providing us with pictures. So it's very limited on what we can do. And in fact, we'll talk more about e-commerce specifically another time, but I'm going to go ahead and show you some examples with this. So in the concept is you're going to grab your core images because in e-commerce, we're provided with the product image, right? So we're going to grab our core images, then we're going to head to Canva, make some pins, and then we're going to get creative. So let me go ahead and pull over Canva real quick. So this is Canva. And I put in Pinterest pin, I search for it. I'm just going to use the blank one so you guys can see blank. And you can look at these, they have templates in here if you wanted to use a template. But for our purposes, I am actually just going to, I've actually uploaded these to save time. So this is the one that I'm going to do. This is one of our products. It's a sofa chair cover thing, and it's got multiple images in here. So that alone is going to make it nice, but I'm not the only person. This is one of my, I drop ship this. So I drop ship this from a supplier who other people are selling it to. So there's lots of pictures in here that I could use, but I want to make some unique ones. So because I want to make some unique ones, we're going to do this a little differently. So I've uploaded it in here. So I've uploaded a couple other things in here too, but let's go with this one as an example. So I could leave it just, in fact, this size probably better, right? Because it's got a little thing there. So this is a completely different picture than what's been on there because it's pinned in here. So now I might want to put in, maybe we'll go to text. We'll see what's there. Well, if you want to put in an element, you want to put like a background thing here or something, you could do something like, just give it some shape, some sort of shape if you want to. If not, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be. In fact, square might work better for what I'm doing. But let's say I wanted to just kind of put some text here. And then I'm going to make that white. And then I'm going to lighten it up so that some of the stuff can still be seen. And then they have some different things here, like different font stuff already set up. So if you don't want to have to be creative, you can just use one of theirs. Like if we want to do like this one as an example. And this is, of course, just quickly off the top of my head. I didn't actually plan this part out. There's another little font in there. I'm going to actually just delete that. So I'm going to say protect your sofa. That's all I'm going to say. Now, what I probably want to do is say cover or something, but protect your sofa is actually kind of a keyword. So it's fine for my purposes. But for you, you just need to make sure that whatever you write in here, that you include a keyword. So I might say protect your sofa with a chair cover, right? Make it a little bit longer, maybe make this smaller and add in, because chair cover would also be a keyword. But this looks pretty good. And I'm going to use protect your sofa as the keyword in this case. So I'm not going to, so if I'm using Canva, this would be where I would change my image title so that I can download it, right? So here's my image title. And then I'm going to do it as, even though they say PNG suggested, I'm going to do JPEG. So we've done that one, right? So now I can do the same thing, and I'm going to say, so say sofa covers, right? Now I'm going to take the image and I'm going to adjust it. Maybe I'll adjust it to the other side instead. Right? That's it. I mean, if people are looking for sofa covers, they're going to see that and go, oh, and they're going to click on it if they want it, right? So now I'm going to change this one to be my keyword. I'm going to do JPEG. And actually, wait, before I do that, I'm going to change this to a different font. Just because. There we go, sofa covers, right? So now this looks completely different than the other one. And I'm going to download as a JPEG. So now I have two in what, less than a minute? And if you're not streaming live, it'll go faster. Right? So maybe now I'm going to make it smaller. And this is where I'm going to do a get creative one now. So you can do that as many times as you want. And I'm going to actually take that and put that up for right now. But something that I did was I went to Pixabay, which, by the way, Pixabay is built into Canva, but I have an easier time looking at Pixabay. So I went dog PNG, and I found a couple of dog images, right? And so I actually loaded those up already. Oops, wrong one. Go to uploads, and I haven't tried this, so this is going to be brand new, guys. This is brand new. So I'm going to try to put this one on there. Of course, I'm sure this dog is actually bigger. And you guys know I'm doing this, and it may not look perfect, it may not, but it gives people the idea that, oh, hey, I'm protecting that's kind of a big dog on that couch now. Of course, it could be Lovesy, right? I don't know how big it is. So, and maybe I decide that I want to make this, of course, again, this goes back to, it seems to be locked into that. So I'm going to go up here and say, let's just do regular text. Instead of doing this, we'll do regular text. I'm going to do protect. So sofa covers to protect your couch from all your friends and family. That's kind of long. And that's really small right now. So we'll see what ends up, how big I make it. All right, so I'm just going to keep doing that, making it a little bit bigger. And I probably don't even need to have that white background back there, by the way, because it's like there's nothing in the way. Let's see, we said different font. So we'll try, I don't really pick anything. I just kind of go until I find something that catches my eye. Usually I'm not very picky about this. It's pretty plain. Okay, there we go. That's pretty good. Sofa covers to protect your couch from all your friends and family. So I could do, how about instead of sofa, maybe we change it to chair. Oops, spell it right though. Chair covers to protect your couch from all your friends and family, right? Or you can change this to sofa or whatever. So now we're going to do chair covers, because that was really kind of what the main keyword is. And this is very clear that it's protecting from the dog, right? It may not be perfect, but that's okay, because it's going to be on a small screen and people are probably not going to notice that. And if they do, it's not the end of the world. So I'm going to say JPEG, download. So everything I've done so far is free, right? I've made these pins. I made 3 of those, 3 completely unique pins right now in just a few minutes. And it would have gone faster if I wasn't explaining it. And it would also have gone faster if I would have just kept doing what I was doing, right? So for each one of these that I have, I can do something, right? So I have this other one. What is going on here? I think it's not like in the live. Anyway, so I've got this. So I've got this one. I've got this one. Those 2 are very good ones that I can do a bunch with. A third one right there, a fourth one right there. And so I can take what was already provided from the images and create different things just using Pixabay and Canva. Right. And I've done this really fast. Right now, you might want to change this maybe to a different color or whatever. You can do whatever you want. These are just giving you guys some examples. They don't have to be perfect, because here's the thing is that it's funny that everybody's like, oh yeah, high quality is what's been everyone wants high quality images. Well, that happened with YouTube as well. Everybody wanted high quality video, and then became the norm. And then all of a sudden, all the stuff that was the do-it-yourself things at home were more popular, because guess what? Whatever sets you apart from whatever the norm is going to get attention. So mixing and matching and doing different things is going to help with capturing people's attention. And if they're like, oh, hey, that's a good idea, right? You're creating ideas. I don't have to go get a dog. I don't have a dog. That's not my dog. But now I've created a completely unique image that I can share on Pinterest. So anyway, so I did 3 really fast. So you guys saw those, and we'll talk about uploading them in a minute. I'm looking for the next section. Okay. All right. So, and again, I want to emphasize, you may have challenges getting good pictures from manufacturers and suppliers, and there's a lot of variation to this. So depending on what you're doing, you may end up with almost no pictures. And to be honest, I've been thinking about this, and this is why I want to do a different one specifically about e-commerce, which would apply anywhere. But because of that challenges in e-commerce, we could always address the fact that, oh, hey, we've got 5 pictures. How do I make more than 5 pins? Right? Because I've got this other one here that, let's see if I can find it real quick. I'm going to get the right product real quick. Just a second. So this is one that this is the only picture that's been pretty much provided, right? In fact, I came through and created for my variations. For my variations, where if you go pack of 2, why is this not working right? Tell me it did not delete my pictures. Well, okay, so I'm gonna have to go back and check. It could be because I'm live. It could be just because we did a theme update and it may have overridden my images. So I'll have to check into that. But anyway, so I had to go in and create more pictures because there were none. So something like that where you're like, oh man, what do I do? And that's just the dilemma we're going to have. And so my thought was, well, hey, we need to do video. And so we'll talk more about that another time when we talk about like video pins and stuff. All right, so let's talk about a blog post and affiliate marketing. So same thing with blog posts and affiliate marketing. You're going to be creating your pins and driving them back to your page, right? So you're creating something. Now this one, I did the exact same thing you just saw me do with the couch, where I moved it over. And these are 3 images that I did in, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes. And it was the same exact picture. You can even tell. See, her hands are in each and every one. Now this may not be different enough, and you may decide, hey, it's not different enough. I was doing it real quick, just trying to get something in here. And obviously I don't know how to log you. This is not one that I would be using, right? So there's some things I would still add to this, but I wanted to show you how easy it was to just kind of adjust, right? So I've taken 3 different presets that were in there in Canva and just popped them on there, changed up some color, and boom, that's it, right? But the concept for content is extremely similar to what I just did in e-commerce. It's the same. So, and again, I put a pro tip here. Use Pixabay, Pexels, Unsplash. These are all free images. Pexels and Pixabay are built into Canva. I don't think Unsplash is. I didn't see it there at least. But these are all places where you can get an image that's similar to what you want to do, or at least serves a purpose, and boom, 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 move it over. Even if you just use it for 3, you've got 3 pins from 1 image. So now you've turned your work into, you've done quite a bit of work in a short period of time using this exact same image. So now some of you I know are very interested in this, and I've gone back and forth on Pinterest for local business as like pushing it or not. Now I use it all the time because I like the SEO value, but it is important to understand the purpose of Pinterest and the purpose and even the SEO value, right? So Pinterest has a dominating presence in the United States. That's where it started. That's where it is. But there are a lot of other countries where it's expanding rapidly. And in fact, it may be pretty big in other countries. I just know it's really big in the US. There are plenty of big brands that are on Pinterest. And some of these are like Forbes, Chobani, which is yogurt, Starbucks, and there are many, many others that are on Pinterest, right? They're big brands on Pinterest. And people, when they think of that, they go, oh, well, yeah, of course they're a big brand. They cater to a huge audience. That's why they're on Pinterest. And yes, I'm sure that's why. So then you go, well, do I need to be on Pinterest? And there are two main reasons for local businesses to be on Pinterest. The first one, if your audience is on Pinterest. So if your niche is on Pinterest. For example, if you are a craft supply store, then first of all, I seriously think craft supply stores should open their stores to online because why not? But that may be difficult for you, but you could still have your local audience on Pinterest and, any DIY, do-it-yourself market, anything with content where you're providing content. So religion, blogging tips, affiliate marketing, stuff like that. And I know a lot of those aren't necessarily local, but those are all things that if you happen to be a local business and do any of those, then yeah, your audience probably is on Pinterest. That doesn't mean you're going to get in front of them though. And that's a big thing, is that it does take work. And so the second reason would be for SEO value, and that's search engine optimization value. And I know a lot of people like tune out as soon as I say search engine optimization or SEO. They're like, oh, I get tired of hearing this. And the thing is that SEO has changed, right? So it's no longer just a strategy. It's something that's a way of life online. So don't overlook this, because it's something almost no local business leader does, right? They're not doing it. And so if you as a local business leader do it, you're going to set your online presence apart from others. And we never know when that's going to be, where it's going to shift and say, okay, well, Pinterest now has a lot more value than somebody else. And by the way, Pinterest is very powerful, especially in images. So if you have something that has like really good images, and you could show up in images and somebody's doing a local search, and it's not a local keyword, you could still show up because you're a local business and Google's related that to that person. So there's a lot of value in being on Pinterest as a local business. And in this instance, it's not an either or. So you want to be on Pinterest if you can benefit from either of these. So then you say, okay, well, I don't know if my niche is on there, and I don't know if it would be worth it for my specific business to be on there. And even though I personally think that everyone benefits from SEO, this actually does depend, right? Since Pinterest takes considerable effort now, you should determine the value. You need to decide if Pinterest is worth the time for you or not. Because if you're going to put all that effort in, you don't want to do like I did last year and then shut down your stores and walk away for a couple of months during your peak season, because it's really horrible. So you are going to have to put a lot of effort into it. You need to make sure it's worthwhile. So these are some questions you should ask. Do you rely on traffic from search engines? If you say yes, that's SEO, right? Do you use Google ads or Facebook ads? Regardless of anything else, do you use Google ads or Facebook ads? Probably, right? Well, or maybe. Do you rely on Google My Business traffic or Google Maps traffic? Now, if you're a local business and you say no to that, then I say, that's kind of crazy. But that means you probably have different methods, different ad methods, or you're doing cold calling or something like that. And then if none of these apply to you, we probably have a conversation. Pinterest may not be for your business, your local business. But if you answer yes to any of these as a local business, then you're going to benefit from SEO. So, and like I said, SEO, while people think of it as like, oh, well, okay, I'm ranking in the search engines, it's much more than that now. So it helps define that your business is a local business. An example of this is if you are on Google My Business and or showing up in Google Maps, you're competing with everybody else that's local. And if you have pins on Pinterest that say that you're a local business, that say, oh yeah, I'm in roofing and I do or I'm in accounting, or I'm in I'm a grocery store and I'm locally situated here, that is a signal to Google, to Facebook, to other search engines that you are located where you are. And they're all doing geo-targeting now. So that means that if I do a search, even if it's not a local search, I am more likely to see results that are closer to me if one of those places outranks somebody else, right? And there's a whole bunch of variables to that. However, this just means that if you're competing with other local businesses, you can use Pinterest to help signal that you are a solid business locally. All right, so you're like, wait, okay, now I'm on Pinterest, I'm a local business. Yes, I've decided I want the SEO value. How do I do that? It's kind of actually really easy. And it's funny, nobody ever talks about this, right? Because nobody ever talks about Pinterest for local businesses. So here's the secret to using Pinterest for SEO value. Add local terms anywhere you add keywords. It's really simple, right? So again, we talked about the saved image before you download it. You could say, what was ours? Sofa covers, right? So I could do sofa covers, Salt Lake City, Utah, or sofa covers, or Salt Lake City sofa covers, something like that, right? Now, I wouldn't necessarily have to put Utah because Salt Lake City is only in Utah. But if you're in something like Fairfield, which is in Utah and Iowa and half a dozen other states, you probably need to include the state. So just add the term, right? So we talked about where you put it in when you save it before you load it into Pinterest, the title of Pinterest, descriptions, and then your overlays, right? So I took this pin. This is another pin from Tailwind. This is one of their templates. So I didn't use this one, but you can see where it just says 10 little known tax deductions for small businesses, right? So now you could use this exact same pin as a local business just by adding in Salt Lake City, Utah, if that's where you're at. If you're in Phoenix, Arizona, you say Phoenix or Phoenix, Arizona, right? And I just put, hey, Salt Lake City, Utah. You could change this out to be little known tax deductions for small businesses and then put in your local city and state, or just city, depending on, if you're in New York, you can just put New York because that's pretty standard where that is, right? So you just have to decide that on your own. But it's really simple to adapt pins for local purposes because that's what we're using it for, at least for the SEO value. If you're trying to get in front of those people geo-targeted, that is, you probably want to run ads, but that's a whole different conversation. So this will give you that SEO value that signal that you're a local business, and Pinterest is so powerful. It's definitely worth not skipping it, But again, it does take a lot of strategy. So if you don't benefit from SEO value, or if you don't convert people on your website, then that's something you may have to decide. All right, so let's talk about some scheduling tips real quick. So as I've mentioned a few times already, the Pinterest representative made it very clear, that fresh and new pins are the priority. This means you need to create a lot more pins, but does not mean you need to create more content. Okay, so I want to emphasize it again. I know I said it before, but I want to emphasize it again. You do not need to create more content. So scheduling tip number 1, create 5 to 20 or more pins when possible for each piece of content. I know this is difficult. And some of you may be, oh no, I can do 60 pins easy. Oh no, because if you're doing blogging, you've got the sky's the limit, right? But if you're doing e-commerce, you might only need to be able to do 3 to 5 and then wait until you get another picture for, ask the supplier for another picture or something, and then do 3 to 5 more. And again, this is where I said we may have to get creative in e-commerce and start talking about video pins because we can do a lot more that way. And it takes a little bit longer, but it would be, we'd be able to do it pretty quick too. Scheduling tip number 2, remember we are also sharing pins, right? So we're sharing pins. So let's say you decide that you're going to do 40% shared, 60% pin. And you're like, man, I can only do maybe 10 pins a day, right? So you're like, okay, I can do 10 pins a day. So that is, let's do some math here. So we say, okay, we're going to do 10 pins a day, and that represents 60% of my pins. I need to do 16 to 17 pins on average. Well, I told you that 15 to 25 range, so do 15. So 15 pins a day, and 10 of them will be yours, and 5 of them will be shared, right? And the other thing is that keep in mind that, and I'll talk about this again, but when you pin to 3 boards, that's 3 pins. So it's not hard if you create 20 pins for something, and you're pinning to 3 boards, that's 60 pins, right? 60 pins, that's 6 days of content right there from one product. Now you wouldn't want to do them all at once. So let's say you have 5 products that you do, you create 20 for each. Now you've got quite a few days. You get a whole month's worth right there. So scheduling tip number 2. Oh, no, I did 2. Sorry. Number 3, focus on sharing content from tribes if you're a Tailwind member. And this is important because then they will share your content. All right, so pin creation ideas, right? This is a little bit longer. The important element is to vary your images on the pins. And then, of course, clearly videos need to be unique, period. And then to be clear, the Pinterest representative flat out said they're not going to release any guidance on this. Right? They're not going to say what's unique or not. But she said unique images and videos are prioritized. This means they're going to use software to determine what is unique. So they obviously put the parameters into the software, but they're not going to tell us what that is. They're just not. And I don't blame them, but I'm just saying that there's nobody can clearly define what Pinterest does and doesn't do. Half the time they can't. I mean, it's been years it's been doing that. This will be harder for some because how many images can you have of, a product? I've talked about that. The one I showed you that there's literally one and they show a couple different angles of it. So I've got like 4 variations that I have to pick. And I'm like, okay, how can I turn this into 20 pins? That's what I was looking at. Say, can I turn this into 20 pins? How can I do it? And if I can't, I can't. I'll do what I can, but that just means less pins, less unique pins. And if you have a ton of products, then you don't have to worry about it, right? Just do more products. Okay, so pin creation idea number 2, use graphs, charts, infographics, screenshots, anything that can help with creating something unique, but that doesn't take too much time. So I say infographics, but if that's going to take you too much time, don't do it. So pin creation idea number 3, take random pictures with your phone that are related to your topic. And, this is an example. So I'm in Utah now and there's snow like all the time and everywhere, these beautiful mountains. So I could, if I wanted to talk about skiing as an example, take pictures of the snowy mountains and put, zoom into different spots, take a lot of different ones. And they're all background pictures now, right? All of them are background pictures, but that's skiing and the snowy mountains are related. So that's why I mean related. So if you're like, oh, hey, I'm going to be talking about marketing, you can't go take pictures of mountains, even though I do it all the time. Okay, so pin creation idea number 4. If you don't have enough pins for your content, create pins for other things. So if you're like, hey, I'm just only have like one thing and you're like, I get tired of creating the same pins, pins over and over again for that, maybe think of other things like local events, especially if you're a local business, you could pin to local events easily. And that would be, as long as it's a unique pin, remember, so it doesn't have to be your content. It just has to be a unique pin. So you come up with an image that you've taken. Maybe I am going to be talking about skiing locally. And I say, okay, I'm going to take a picture of the ski resort up here. That's my picture that I took at a unique angle with unique trees and leaves and everything in it. And I take that and I, maybe take 6, 7 shots and I put them in there. I could have like 100 different pins just doing that. So you can add these in if you're like, oh, hey, I just don't have enough of my own pins to maybe because you want to share more or something. Because remember that ratio, I doubt that ratio is going to be much more. Like I doubt you can get away with less than 50% of your pinning to be unique. You probably need to have at least 50%. So it can be stuff you like. It could be, your friend's site. It could be whatever. There are no requirements that your pins must be for your content. So that's just something that you can think about doing. So for those of you who have heard about Tailwind and Tribes, I'm going to re-emphasize this. So you can schedule your pins without a tool. It's free, completely free. Go into Pinterest, you can do it. We talk about that in our Pinterest course. But it's a massive time saver to use something like Tailwind. And I'm going to show you real quick how easy it is to go into Tailwind. And I guess I have like no content right now because I ran out like 2 days ago and then meant to do this 2 days ago. And then kept pushing it off, right? So in here, I'm going to go into, I guess, scheduled pins, whatever. Scheduled pins drafts, basically the same thing when you have nothing there. And I can say create new pin. Now I can upload. And this is where it's actually really easy. So we could just do the chair covers, right? And then I'm actually going to test this out and see if I can do more than one at the time. Sometimes I mess this up, like I said. So yeah, you can just shift click and do 2, it looks like. So that's kind of funny. Look, it's like the exact opposite with the middle cut out. So we've got these 3 that we just did. Now I can come in and I can enter the information I want. So it's pulling the default URL from here, but that's not the default. That's not the URL I'd want it to go to. So I just go in here and I change my, whatever board I want to pin to, put my title, my description, and then I change my URL. Then I can add it to the queue. Now I can put this to multiple boards. So in this case, this is, we'll do home decor, and I'm going to do top blocks. One, right? So I'm going to do this one. Oh, I'm not going to the same one. I need to pull up my, you can also do something. So if you guys have Shopify, like I have Shopify, right? So you can do a couple different things. I don't think I have this particular product coded into here, but what you basically want to do is you want to go into your collections. So I have collections all, and so this is all the products. And then I can go into it by, like, here we go, furniture, throw covers, right? Yeah, so this one is its own. Let me show you. So there's that one and that one. If you look at this, it's unique. They're unique. This one says internetaisle.com/product/da-da-da. This one is the same stinking one, so it did not work. If you can get into, let me pull it up. Let me get into the back end, sorry. I should have done this on EP Laser like I usually do because all those are set. Maybe I'll show you guys on EP Laser then. .com. Nope, if you type in the name wrong, it will not pull it up. Okay. So if I go into shop now, oh, this maybe the theme messed it up too, but I go into Celtic ornaments. So I'm in the collections of Celtic ornaments. You can see that I'm in collections right now. And then if I go into same one, right? So same product. It's product/Celtic ornaments. So these are two completely different URLs. And that's helpful because when people come in and they see them scheduled, if they're in tribes or whatever, if you have these all three, like this is telling me that it's going, oh, I've already pinned something into there because whatever this URL is has already gone in there. I won't see that if it's a different URL for each one. And so it's kind of helpful to be able to do that. And I would recommend if you have Shopify or if you have some sort of, breadcrumbs like that, that you can go to multiple directions to get to it, that you go ahead and vary your URL. And if you can't, you can't. But that was just, kind of a little tip that nobody ever talks about that I thought I'd share with you. That's how you can get links back to the exact same page, but it's the different URL. I don't know why they create multiple pages, but it does. So, so you go through, you fix all these up, and then you could schedule them. But you could also do, since I'm going to 3 boards, I could say interval, and maybe I want to do it. This one says every 7 days. So this is interesting. This is new on Tailwind too. So it's too infrequently could put your account at risk and reduce your distribution on Pinterest. So they're saying they don't want it to be less than 2 days. So I'm going to say 2 days and 5 hours. It'll show me where it would be here. These are the next 3 dates it would do that. And so this is where if you have 20 pins that you're doing and you're sending them out, okay, I'm going to do these every 20 days. And maybe this one I start the next day and this one I start the third day. Every day one's pinning, but it's going to be, into a different board. It's going to be into with the different images and everything. So it's just a really good way to schedule it out and spread it out, because if somebody doesn't show up on Pinterest for a week, they're less likely to see your image if it's not getting posted regularly, right? And then you may say, oh, hey, this one's doing good. Let's put in the smart loop and a bunch of other things. So there's a lot of different ways, if you're using Tailwind, that you can keep creating and generating and using that content. So that was the really easy way to do it. And then for many of us that don't get organic shares, Tribes increases the odds that your pins get shared. And yes, I do teach a strategy for Tribes that is in the Pinterest course. You get access to in Tribes. You also get access to stats to help you share pins that have better reach. So that's another reason why Tribes are really good. All right, let's see what else I put in here. So my experience so far, some of you are like, yeah, right, this isn't going to work. And it may not. And I'm going to be honest. I did test this as soon as they said it was going to be. I put in a bunch of brand new stuff and everything else, and I put it on there. And I think my views went down. And of course, I'm not the best about creating content or even creating pins for that matter and scheduling it out, because I have been testing for the last year on sharing content. And a lot of my stuff that's on there is all going to links that are broken. So I've been trying to clean it up and get everything fixed. So with that said, I am sure my account is also flagged as one that curates content. And they said they were going to do that. If your account is flagged as one that curates content, so you share more than you generate fresh content, Pinterest is not going to show your new pins. That's just what they said. So you have to basically put in your due diligence of sharing fresh content before Pinterest goes, okay, you know what? You are somebody who's sharing good content or sharing fresh content. Let's go ahead and add you to the queue for being, let's go ahead and show you to more people, right? So it's just really weird. But they said they were going to do that. The Pinterest rep said that. So again, I overcome my Pinterest challenges with tribes, with the Tailwind tribes, and I share their pins, they share my pins, and this is 100% permitted by Pinterest. So let's go over some links. And oh my gosh, I'm going to make it under an hour. So we use the free resource Canva, so canva.com, to create pins. And literally, this is just so fast and easy. It's just crazy not to use it. Then Tailwind, if you're interested in Tailwind, you can go to littlebizresources.com/get/Tailwind. You can join Chatty Review group boards if you are not in any group boards at chattyreview.com/Pinterest. Chatty Review is my blog site that I was testing with for a while. And eventually that's going to switch to, I don't know, maybe I'll keep it. I don't know. We'll see. I think I'm going to change it to a general blogging site. And then I don't know if that's going to change, if I'm going to change the URL or not, but we'll see. If you are not a member of Lead Generation Source group, please join our group. We have a lot more information in there. This Pinterest one was kind of like spur of the moment. I'm in between, scrambling between my sites and, teaching a daughter, and we had snowstorms and doctor's appointments, and it's just been kind of crazy here. So, and you can tell I can't breathe again for some reason. I don't know why. I've got like every inhaler I could fathom inside me and medication galore, and I'm still having trouble breathing. So who knows? Anyway, so if you're not in our Facebook group, please, feel free to join. You can go to facebook.com or fb.com/group/lead generation source, or just search lead generation source in the groups and you'll find us. You can see the Tailwind interview with the Pinterest rep at littlebizresources.com/Feb1. That's a 1 there, not an L. So FEB1. So February 1, right? And that's it. I know I saw some people pop on and then pop off, so hopefully there's sound. But I know this went out to quite a few pages. So anyway, let me know if you guys have questions. Feel free to pop them in, in the group, or if you're not in the group and you just want to ask a question, you can attach it to the lead generation source page with this, and I will definitely get back to you. So thanks, everybody. Let me know what you thought. If you have any questions, if I skipped anything, which I know I skipped a lot of stuff, but I can't do a 4-hour Pinterest course in an hour, and I didn't want to do it all. Didn't want to do a live for 4 hours. So we'll go ahead and get that Pinterest course revamped and get a link up. So if you want the Pinterest course, just put in Pinterest below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I get the link for the separated out course, so you don't have to go through everything else. It's a free course, by the way. So, all right, thanks everybody, and I will see you relatively soon, hopefully, for other stuff. Oh, I should also say that we do have more lives coming up, and I was going to have a whole list for you, but I'll announce those in the group and on the page. So if you haven't, let me see, let's go back to this one. So if I can type on the right page, it would be good. So on Facebook, if you haven't liked our page, please feel free to like it. This is, I'll show you which one it is real quick. This is the lead generation source page here. So just come on in, like us, and follow us. When you do following, do see first, and you'll get notified of, notifications on highlighted posts. I wonder if I can do one all on that one. Post standard, all notifications page up to 5 per day. You can do that. You can do standard if you want. I don't do 5 a day, so you will get them all then. So there's that. If you never know about that, there you go. There's another little tip, right? They keep changing that, how many you can follow, and it's crazy. So, but that is if you would like to follow us. I've got a lot more stuff coming out. Local marketing stuff. We've got there's Fade to Black that just came out, which I have a post on. I might do a webinar in the next day or two since it closes on Friday. We've got a lot of stuff in the books. That's part of the reason why I'm so far behind on everything, right? We're going to do Google My Business, website conversion basics, retargeting, messenger marketing, email marketing for local businesses, budgeting your time with tips on creating a marketing schedule, business phone number options, live video marketing, and then later this week, I hope to do 7 local marketing methods for the local people. That'll come from my other page, but I'll share it into everything. So anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions, if you have any requests, etc. And I'll see you in the group. Thanks.